Hello everyone and welcome to this video on Introduction to Dimensions in Revit. In this project we will be carrying out dimensioning and going over the basics of how to create dimensions, how to change the properties of dimensions, and I'll also be going over a few advanced topics pertaining to dimensioning so you guys can get comfortable when you're trying to create dimensions inside of your own projects. So without further ado, let's get started. First, I would like to create a few walls. Go to the Architecture tab over here, select the wall icon, just create a simple rectangle, add in a few doors, and let's just add a few windows as well. Okay, now that we've added doors and windows, go to the Annotate tab over here, and the first option that you guys might be seeing is Align Dimension. Select the aligned icon over here. Now a thing about dimensions is if I am going to try to find the length of this wall, it's a must that I have two references that are perpendicular to this wall. So as you can see, there is an option by the name of pick over here. Select the drop down icon over here and select individual references. And if I'm trying to find the length of this wall, as I said, two perpendicular references are needed, one over here, one over here. Select these two perpendicular references, drag your cursor all the way to the left, and here you go. You just created a first dimension. Now another way of doing is to select the pick icon over here, and you can also choose the entire wall option. It will give you the pretty much the same result, but instead of picking two individual references, it will select the entire wall. But you guys still need to have two perpendicular references to create the dimensions. 1, 2, and 3. Now that you guys have created a few dimensions, I would like to show you how you can change the size and the color of these dimensions. Select the dimension over here and go to the edit type. Now there are a bunch of options that you guys have available over here, such as the text font, text background, the units format, and I'd try to go over most of them. So let's get started with the color. Select the color icon over here and let's make it red. Click on OK, click on apply. Okay, the dimensions are red, and I would like to change the size of the dimensions as well. So how can we do that? Text size, let's make it 1 by 1 by 16 inch. Apply. Okay, that made it smaller. How about we make it 1 by 4? Apply. That's good. Let's just leave it to 1 by 8. Apply. Okay, much better. And we also have the units format over here. Select the unit format icon over here, uncheck this icon. You can even round it off to how many inches you want the dimension to be nearby, like to the nearest 1 by 32 inch, 1 by feet, 1 feet 6 inches. So we'll just leave it as it is and not change it. Then you have the text size, text offset, and a bunch of other useful icons over here as well. So click on OK. Okay, and moving forward, the linear icon pretty much does the same, pretty much gives the same result as the aligned. But the thing with the aligned is that, for example, if I were to create two walls, select the wall icon over here, and they are not, this wall is not horizontal, neither it's completely vertical, but these two walls, as you can see, are parallel to each other, and I'd like to know the distance between them. Go to the Annotate tab. If I were to select the linear icon over here, apparently I cannot find the length between these two walls, because the linear, as the name suggests, is only used for horizontal or vertical dimensions. It cannot give you the length of anything that is not horizontal or vertical. So go back to the aligned icon over here, select individual references, select this wall, and here you go. This is the major difference between the aligned and the linear. Apart from that, everything else is pretty much the same. Okay, so moving forward, I'd like to go over the angular dimension icon over here. Go to the Architecture tab, select the wall, and let's create one wall over here. Let's select this as start and radius. and let's create another wall like this, and just go to the annotate tab. For example, I'd like to know the length of this arc, or I would like to know the radius of this arc or the diameter of this arc. This is where these icons, I will get to the angular in just a moment. Basically this is used to show the angles, but what I would like to go over are these three icons first. So let's select the radial icon over here, select this center line, and as you can see the radius is 9 feet. Okay, select the diameter, select this icon, and it's giving 18 feet. And select this arc length icon over here. First select the wall center line, then select the wall that the arc is connected with, then select the other center line that the arc is connected with. And once you do that, you have the length of the arc, which is approximately 28 feet 9 by 32 inches. So that is how you use these three icons over here to find out the length of the arc, the radius of the arc, or the diameter of the arc. Going to this icon over here, the arc length. Okay, apparently we cannot select for some reason the curve or other element, but we already did that. Sorry, I was trying to select the angular icon over here. Select the angular icon over here, and let's for example select these two individual references, and here you go, giving us an angle of 90 degrees. And you can do it, for example, select the wall icon, create a wall over here, go to the annotate tab, and select the angular icon over here, and select these two individual references, and we're getting an angle of 146. Now you can change the properties of these angles by going to the edit type, changing the color, changing the text height, text length, changing the background. It's entirely up to you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Another important thing that I would like to get across is how can we make instances equal. And what I mean by that is, go to the architecture tab, select the windows, add a window here. And what I would like now is that I'd like to make these windows equidistant, that the distance between them should be equal. So how can we do that? Go to the annotate tab, select align, select this one reference, select this third reference, and then select this another reference. Drag these dimensions all the way up over here, and as you can see there is an EQ mark present. Click on it, and now our windows are at equal distance from each other. There's equal distancing between them. And what I would like to do is I would like to repeat this. For example, let me add a few doors on this wall. Select the door icon over here, one door, two door, and maybe a third door as well. So go to the annotate tab, select aligned, select the center mark icon over here, 1 2 3 4, drag it all the way to the right and click on equal EQ. Select this dimension, drag it all the way to the right. Now as you can see, our doors are at equal distance from each other. There's equal spacing / distancing between them. And yeah, so this was a basic introduction to dimensioning. Let's move forward. There are a few other icons that you guys might be seeing over here. One is the spot slope, which is used to, as the name suggests, tell us the slope, or how much the slope of a wall, a length, or a line is. And I'll get to this one, spot elevation and spot coordinate. But for these, I'd like to go to the elevation view. Let's go to the east elevation view over here. These are one of our walls. Let's start with spot elevation. Select spot elevation. Spot elevation basically tells us, as the name suggests, the elevation of how high the wall is from an individual reference. The reference obviously in this case is level 1, and as we go all the way up, select 20, 20 and drag it all the way to the left. Select this icon over here, go to the properties. You can play around with leader shoulder and a bunch of other icons. Click on edit type. You have a lot of options. As you guys know that the type properties are pretty much the same for spot elevation, the align dimension, angular dimension. It just gives you the ability to change the text height, text color, and overall whether you want a leader line or not. So all of this is just pretty much repeat. Okay, now that we have seen spot elevation, I would like to go over this option, which is spot slope, which I believe is extremely important. So go to the annotate tab, select detail line. Let's create two lines, one completely horizontal and one a bit sloped. So as I create two lines, go to the spot slope icon over here. We have no slope, which pretty much makes sense because this line is horizontal, so it has no slope. But this line on the other hand has a slope, which is, if I am correct, 1.25 inches for every 1 feet. Basically 1.25 inches of drop for every 1 feet of length. That makes sense. That makes a ton of sense. So now that we've gone over this dimension tab over here, in the next part of the video I'd like to go over the detail tab over here, go over detail line. Even though I've gone through detail line in detail in the previous videos, but I would like to touch this topic again. Create regions, components, insulation, revision cloud, and then carry on from there. So I will be seeing you guys in the next part of the video. Thank you. Hello everyone, and welcome to the second part on this video of introduction to dimensioning in Revit architecture. In this part of the video we will be going over the detail tab over here, and also be going over the tag by category icon over here, which I believe is extremely handy and useful. So let's get started. I already went over how to create detail lines in the previous videos, but I would like to repeat this as I believe it's an extremely useful command to be aware of. So select the detail icon over here. Any detail line is nothing but, it just creates a 2D line, but it's extremely handy when you're trying to create 2D drafting. So if you would like to change the color of this line or the thickness of this line, it's entirely possible. First, what I would like to do is I would like to go to the Manage tab over here, click on the additional settings, and go to Line Styles. Select this drop down icon over here, plus icon over here, and as you can see we have a bunch of lines available. So let's just create a new line type, and let's just call it Practice. Click on OK, and I would like to give it a color of, let's say, green. Click on OK, and I would also like to make it dash dot. Yep. Click on apply and click on OK. Now go back to the annotate tab, select the detail line, and select the practice line that we just created. It's right here. Now, as you can see, we just created a line. I believe it's a bit hard to see, but it's dashed and the color has been changed. Okay, select the line again, and as you can see we have a bunch of other lines available, such as wide lines. And if you zoom in, you can even see the thickness difference. This line is a bit thicker than this one. And yeah, if you want to create different line types, if you want to change their thickness, if you want to change their color type, you can always do that by going to the Manage tab, additional settings, line styles. Click on this plus icon over here, and you can change the line weight, the line color, and the line pattern. Yeah, and if you were to select additional settings one more time, you can also see the line weights and line patterns. The line weights is basically used to change the thickness of the line weight. For example, if I were to go back to this line styles, plus icon over here, as you can see the line weight is 161, but how do we know how thick is 6 and how thick is 5? But I mean, I can give it any number of my choice, but I need to know how much thick will it be. So this is decided by the line weights icon over here. which gives the thickness. For example, if you select a line with thickness of 6, and if the scale is 1 inches for every 1 feet, the thickness will be 0.035 inches. So this is just something I wanted to show you guys. Just you guys will hardly ever use it. This is a bit advanced, so no need to start changing line widths and heights over here. Just wanted to get this information across. So click on cancel, and yeah, go back to the annotate tab, and that's how you create detail lines. That's how you change the line type and the line color. Another very important command is the region command. Select the region command over here. Detail regional height. Okay, let's select the rectangle, drag it all the way to the right, and click on the green check mark. If you were to zoom in, you can see you can see this pattern over here, right over here. Select this region boundary over here. Let's for example make it transparent. You can make it transparent as well. We have a bunch of other patterns available, such as wood 1. Yeah, but what if I would like to change the scale of this? How can I do that? Well, select the region, click on edit type. Foreground fill pattern is wood drafting 1. Select it, and from here not only can you choose the type of pattern that you're looking for, but you can also, if I am correct, edit the scale over here, which I believe is a bit advanced, but let's just leave it like this. I would not want to get into too much details because I believe that would be going beyond the scope of this video. So click on OK, click on OK again. What I would like to do is I would like to select another pattern. So select this icon over here, click on edit type, click on duplicate. Let's make it solid fill, and the foreground fill pattern, let's make anything over here. Let's make it earth, for example. Click on OK, click on OK, and yeah, you just change the type. That's how you do it. Okay, now what I just did right now is that I tried to change the view scale. So if you were to change the view scale, let's say make it 1 inches 20 feet, as you will see that the pattern, it's looking bigger and bigger because the pattern is directly linked with the view scale. So changing the view scale will obviously change the size of the pattern and also will interfere with the size of the dimensions. So you'll have to keep that in mind whenever you are working on your projects. So yeah, that's how you create regions. And another important command is the revision cloud over here. Revision cloud, as the name suggests, is used in like projects for architects if they would like to know whether a specific area needs revision at a later time, at a later point in time in the project. So obviously when working on bigger projects, it's very hard to keep a check of each and every specific area. So what they do is that they tend to create revision clouds around specific areas that they tend to that they tend to work on at a later point in time, if they would like to carry out revisions or like to make alterations, just so they can remember it. It's nothing very complicated. If you just select the revision cloud over here and drag it all the way over here, click on the green check mark. So this just goes to show that I will need to carry out revisions on this part of the project sometime later on. Select the revision cloud and delete it. Okay. And another very important command is the insulation. This is just used for detailing when you try to create detailing such as the one that you guys just saw. So insulation is nothing, just select the insulation icon over here, click it and drag it to the right. And as you can see, it's very small. Select the insulation just created. Insulation width, let's make it 2 feet, and yeah, just change the size. And I will be showing you guys a project that I did for a client of mine, in which I used all of these commands that I just taught you guys on how to create high level detailings for projects of your choice. And another last command that I would like to go over is the tag by category icon over here, which is used to tag windows and doors and other important elements in the project. So select the tag by category. Let's start tagging the windows 1, 2, 3. Now what this 1 represents, select the window over here, click on edit type, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see a type mark icon over here. It's 2. Let's make it 223 for example. Click on OK. Now this 1 is representing the type mark, or the type of basically tag by category is an extremely handy tool to be aware of when you're trying to create schedules. When there are like a ton of windows involved, then we need to tag each and every window so we can differentiate the type of window that we're using. For example, this window is 36 inches by across 48 inches, and I use another window but with a different size, so it will be very hard for me to differentiate and that is why I use tag by category to tag windows and doors, and just so that it can help me with scheduling at a later point in time. And we can do the same for the doors, tag by category. Obviously this is not the type mark tag that we just saw earlier for the windows. This is a door tag, and I will show you guys a very handy and neat trick. Select this tag over here, click on edit family. This is a bit advanced, but obviously you need to get this point across. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to edit the tag. Select the label over here, click on label. Okay, and what do we need? We need to know the height of the window and we need to know the width of the window. Click on OK, cancel. Okay, now we can just leave it like that. So drag it, load into project, overwrite an existing one. Now as you can see, what we just did, we added a new tag apart from the type mark tag, which is now showing us the height is 4 feet and the width of the windows, which is 3 feet. And we can do the same for the doors as well. You can play around with the tags. If I were to go back to the edit family, click on edit family, we can add a bunch of labels such as assembly code, assembly description, assembly name, cost, construction type, and a whole bunch of other useful icons, options over here as well. So click on cancel, load into project again, and yeah, go back to the editor tab. And yes, so this was just a basic level introduction. I tried to go over a few advanced topics, but as I've suggested earlier, that practice makes perfect, and you guys need to practice these commands that I teach you guys if you are going to reach the level of command that you guys are trying to reach. And one more thing that I wanted to want to show you guys is a project that I did for a client of mine. I hope I have it somewhere. Okay, I'll need to find it. Okay, container.pdf. Okay, so this is the project that I did, which is a single story container plan for one of my clients. As you guys can see, the detailing, all of this was done in Revit, and all of this was done using the commands that I just showed you guys. And like I said, yeah, this is the icon I'm trying to show. Detail lines were used to create this pattern. This is the region command that I just showed you guys. Two options were used, detail line and regions, were to create all of the detailing that you guys can see in this PDF. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I'll try to make as much content as I can. If you guys like this video, please subscribe to our channel, give a thumbs up on this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.